Hi and welcome to Online Appliance Tech. Today we're working on a dryer that's no longer heating. The first thing you want to do is turn the dryer on, press the start button, and at the bottom left hand corner you'll see a little peephole. That way you can see if you have any type of glow, which would be the igniter. If you do see a glow, that means the thermal fuse and the high limit fuse is good. If you do not see a glow, that means more than likely you have a bad thermal fuse or high limit fuse. In this case we do not have no glow. Now let's replace the thermal fuse. Make sure you unplug the dryer and remove the quarter bit screws that hold the back panel on. Once you remove the quarter bit screws, make sure to be careful when you remove the panel. It is very sharp. So I see you get the point. Let me speed it up. Okay, right here is the thermal fuse. So just wiggle the harness off the thermal fuse. There's two wires, I would say. And there's a quarter bit screw holding the thermal fuse on. Sometimes you have to wedge it off using a flathead. There we go. Okay, once removed the old thermal fuse, just replace the new one, slide it in, and reinstall the quarter bit screw. In this case, this video, the thermal fuse is actually okay, so I replaced it either or just for future maintenance. The problem was it was a high limit fuse. On this high limit fuse, you can actually reset it and you can test it without having a multimeter. So the same as the thermal fuse, I will use a flathead to wedge off the wire. One thing you do not want to do is pull on the wire and pull the wire out of the plastic housing of the harness. So if you do have a multimeter, you can check the high limit fuse for continuity or ohms. As you can see here, this one does read open line. Now let's remove the high limit fuse by removing the quarter bit screw. And like I said, if you do have a multimeter, you can check for continuity. As you can see here, it's open line, meaning it's a bad fuse. Here's a little trick. Take a flathead or something like that, turn the fuse on its back or upside down, and tap the back of it. And believe it or not, this will actually fix the fuse. As you'll see now, it does read continuity. So the fuse is fixed. So say if you don't have a fuse, or you're going to order one, but you want to get by until you get one in, you can just reset it like that. So once you tap the high limit fuse on its back, make sure the fuse does rattle. If it does not rattle, that means it's not reset. So what I'm doing here, I'm removing the two quarter bit screws, or actually Phillips screws. I'm going to remove the back panel the vent panel. And the reason why I'm removing this back panel, I'm going to clean it out. A lot of times the backup heat will back up into the dryer, and that's usually what causes that high limit to trip. So just remove the 4 1/4 bit screws, as you can see. So wiggle the vent out. Be careful, it's pretty sharp. Once you get the bottom part out, tilt the dryer up and remove the remaining. So a lot of times these vents will get clogged, and this one's not as bad as I thought it would be. But if these internal vents are clogged, the air cannot get out of the house. If the air cannot get out of the house, it backs back up into the dryer and then back to the heat source. Then it overheats, and that's when the high limit fuse will open. So it comes out, in, out the house. So if it can't get out, it goes back into the dryer, back to the heat source, blows the fuse. I believe this case, it was not the internal, it was the external, which is the vent on the outside. So I removed a lot of lint. If the flap cannot completely go all the way up, it's basically a restriction also. So make sure to clean that out if you can get to it. Okay, let's reinstall the vent. Just tilt the dryer up. That way you can kind of press it at an up angle. Be careful, like I said, it's sharp. Line it up correctly with the blower wheel and reinstall your 4 1/4 bit screws. Leave a link in the description below. I recommend just buying the kit, the one that comes with the high limit, the low limit, and a drain fuse. That way you're not going back and forth. And let's reinstall the high limit fuse. Pretty simple. A lot of times I'll just hand tighten it, that way I can line it up correctly, and then I will use a drill or just some type of hand 1/4 bit screw. Okay, let's reinstall the back panel. Just be careful, it's very sharp. One tip too is when you push your dryer back, make sure the back vent, the dryer duct, is not kinked up or restricted, because if that's the case, you still have the same problem. The air of the dryer will not get out of the house and it'll back up into the dryer. Reinstall the 2 Phillips screws. Make sure that you hold on to the screw and start it before you let go. A lot of times the screw will fall into the vent and you have to remove the vent again to get the screw back. So just be careful and patient. Make sure the ductwork is lined up correctly. Like I said, no kinks. If you do have to bend it, just you can bend it, but not like a major bend. Press the start button once you plug it in. Okay, so now we're going to test it again. Now, in this case, you will see it glow because the dryer is working out, it's fixed. If you see this at the beginning of the video, that means you probably have bad gas coils. So that's more internal, but most of the time it's, like I said, the thermal fuse or high limit fuse. I hope this video saved you some money. Please like and subscribe for more future tips and videos.